Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. In this video, we're going to talk about the nature of stimulants and how they affect you, what is happening in your body when you take on a stimulant, when you ingest a stimulant, and why most people mistake the energy, so-called energy, the illusion of energy that they receive from ingesting a particular stimulant, and they mistake it for energy. Now, a stimulant can come in the form of a food, and for the sake of simplicity here, just because that's what we have been programmed to think of as food, anything that has calories in it is food. Although that's a very stupid way of looking at it, but nevertheless, just because, you know, we're all programmed to think of food as anything with calories. So a stimulant can come in the form of a food, okay, and then it can also come in the form of a drug, okay. And I suppose we made the difference between a drug and a food based on the calorie thing. If it doesn't have calories, then it's a drug, right? So coffee, it's a bean, it's a plant, you know, it's a plant, same as same as rice, same as wheat, but one provides caloric intake and one doesn't. So I guess we call that one food, and then we call that one whatever, coffee. You know, people don't even look at it as a drug, but they're all different forms of drugs, okay? So anyway, stimulants can come in the form of a food. Again, a food is something with calories, and it can also come in the form of a non-caloric ingestion. A caloric ingestion and a non-caloric ingestion, okay? So when you take on, so let's start with coffee. All right, coffee is easy. We've all drank coffee. Some of you guys probably still drink coffee. Very easy, very relatable, right? Gives you energy, doesn't it? Gives you energy. That's why people drink coffee. All right. Aside from the pleasant taste and smell, I really like the smell and the taste of coffee. It gives energy, and that's the primary reason why human beings take on coffee. That's the primary reason why humans ingest coffee. So what happens, suppose that this is a cup of coffee, right? I use this for my aged urine. Let's suppose this is a cup of coffee. Let's suppose it's full, right? So I brew it, I smell it, it's nice. I have my Beethoven running in the background, right? And I sip on the coffee. Right? And I finish the cup. So if you have an empty stomach in about 15 minutes or less, your heart rate begins to elevate. You begin to feel heat in your body, and you begin to feel this physical energy that people drink the coffee for. So for 3-4 years, not exactly sure the length, I drank coffee, and I drank it before going to the gym, okay? And a typical morning for me was I wake up, I'm really tired, okay? I'm really, excuse me. We're detoxing with this juice cleanse, so we're getting a lot of mucus coming out. So, where were we? Yeah, so, typical morning for me was get up, tired as hell, right? Tired, just tired, like pretty much 99% of humans waking up. I get up, I put some music on, I brew my coffee, I make it, I drink it, and I begin to feel heat, right? Because I would wake up cold in my apartment in Canada. It had terrible heating, and I was just in a perpetual state of coldness, okay? Yeah, so I drink my coffee. I'd begin to feel the heat rise. I'd begin to feel my heart rate elevate. And I would feel what seems like energy, right? So the coffee also, it makes your body secrete more adrenaline, which is the fight or flight hormone. So that also gives you more energy again, right? So there's several things happening because of coffee. It's acting on particular hormones and neurotransmitters in your endocrine and nervous system that stimulate your nervous system with yang type energy, and that causes the heart rate to increase, and that causes heat to rise in your body, okay, which gives you the illusion of energy. All right, you got energy out of nowhere here. It acted as a stimulant. So I would drink the coffee. About 15 to 30 minutes in, I'd feel this energy. I'd go take my cold shower, and then I'd go to the gym, and I would be like Superman there. Okay, this is very important. The word Superman is gonna come in handy in this video. All right. So, but what is happening as this coffee is being processed is the body is so enchanted, or not enchanted, sorry, the body is so upset, it's upset that you put in such a toxic substance in it that it increases the metabolism to process this toxin out of your bloodstream and out of your body as quickly as possible. So that stimulant gave you the illusion of energy. And then you say, I drink coffee, okay, the average person has no idea how toxic coffee is for them. So they say, coffee gives me energy. I can't go without my morning coffee. I just can't go without my morning coffee. I can't go without coffee. Right? They don't know what it actually is doing. They don't know how toxic it is. They don't know that the reason why their metabolism is increasing, the reason why their heart rate's going up, the reason why they feel this energy is because the body's like, oh my god, you moron, why'd you put this thing in here? It gets agitated. I want to get it out of here as soon as possible. And you feel this heat and you feel this energy and you get up, and I know all about this, right? And I go to the gym and I go Super Saiyan, right? I go Super Saiyan thanks to my coffee. All right, when in reality I woke up not wanting to go Super Saiyan, not wanting to go to the gym because my body is doing something. It needs more rest. It needs rest maybe from yesterday's workout. It needs to process yesterday's food. It's got some toxins it wants to get rid of. All right, but using that stimulant gives me energy, right? Or does it? Or is it just stimulating me in a way that's actually stealing energy from me in the long run? You see? So what happens when you put a stimulant, you know what? Same thing happens with salt. Same thing happens with salt. Salt is a stimulant also. And when you put salt in your body, the body freaks the fuck out. Like, why are you putting this glass inside of me? Same thing. You eat salty food, same thing. It's similar thing to what happens when you drink coffee. And salt isn't necessarily acting on your adrenals. Well, it is, but not in this, like coffee will actually make your adrenals produce more adrenaline. So it, it's just the nature of the coffee beans and the chemistry of them. But it also is, it's not just that, it's also because you put a toxin in. So when you put salt in your body, glass, 1/3 of the table salt you buy in the stores is glass, just glass. All right? And you put it in, the body's freaking out. And same thing, you feel stimulated. When you eat a salty meal, you feel stimulated. There is that initial stimulation. Okay? So whether the stimulant is ingested has caloric intake in it and whether it doesn't, it's the same process. The body increases its metabolism. The body increases all the processes within so it can push that toxin out of your system, out of your bloodstream, and out of your system in all the different elimination channels as soon as possible. Okay? And it's the same thing with foods. There are certain foods that have a stimulating nature to them. Like meat. Meat has a stimulant effect to it. It's got the adrenaline also of the animals, of the killed dead animals. And it's got certain chemistry that stimulates, and it's a toxin. And the body goes to work again. It's like all the metabolism kicks in and you feel this heat inside of you, and the body just wants to expel it out as soon as possible. It wants to rebalance itself back to homeostasis as soon as possible. So some people will say things like, I started eating meat, or I started eating eggs, or I started doing this, or I started drinking milk, or I started to do this or that, and I feel like Superman. Well, let me tell you something, folks. For 3 years in a row, I took LSD on a semi-daily basis. The reason why it's a semi-daily basis, it was because I need to reset my tolerance. So I would take it like 4 days in a row, and then I would chill for 2 days or 3 days, and then I would go again. So it's on average a semi-daily basis. I would take I would start with a dose, say it's Monday, I would start with about like, I don't know, a fourth of a tab, and then the next day I would go another fourth, so it's a microdose. And then by the third day, because my tolerance is catching up, I'd go a little higher. I'd go maybe a third of a tab. I would do that for about 2 days in a row. And then on the fifth day, either I would go half a tab, but it's not half a tab. Half a tab is not a microdose, but I'm trying to compensate for the tolerance. So half a tab in this case on day 5 would be not half a tab. It would be equivalent to about a fourth, even less, because of the tolerance. So sometimes I would do that. Sometimes I would just do like every other day. I would just take like a fifth of a tab. I'd do a day break, a fifth of the tab. But I took it for 3 years, like pretty much on a semi-daily basis on average. Okay, and anytime I stopped was just to reset tolerance. Okay, and it did not matter. For those 3 years, I have changed my diet like you wouldn't believe it. I went on a ketogenic diet. I went on like a mostly fish diet, but not really carnivore, just fish and vegetables. I went on a vegetarian diet, just eggs and vegetables, and then I went on all kinds of diets. Everything except for pure carnivore. I did like 80% carnivore at some point, but not pure. Okay, but I've tried them all. Okay, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter what the diet was, as long as I took my LSD. I was Superman. That's it. I was Superman. It didn't matter. Yes, I had IBS. Yes, my intestines were clogged. Yes, I was developing chronic fatigue because of the constant use of LSD and because of the foods that I was eating. But for 3 years, because of this powerful stimulating substance, I was Superman. And in fact, there was not a single time I would go to the gym without taking LSD, and I prefer to always take it on the days I reset my tolerance. So if I went to the gym once every 4 days, let's say every 4 days, I would make sure that I reset my tolerance, and every time I would go, it didn't matter what was going on in my world. Didn't matter what I ate. It didn't matter. I just took this powerful substance. I stopped coffee because I found something more powerful. All right, and when I said Superman, I was called Superman in the gym. Okay, you guys who followed me from Fitness Channel, you know the kind of shit I used to be able to do back in those days. The crazy martial arts and gymnastics and all that thing that I combined together. Okay, yeah, I was in my initial stage. I was drinking coffee to do that. Okay, and it would override all my bad habits, and I would feel like Superman. That's why I loved coffee, and then I found LSD, which was stronger. I felt like Superman. Now, does that mean I should be consuming LSD every day for the rest of my life, or let's say on every other day, or even let's say every third day? Sometimes I would do every third day, but it depended. It just depended. I would like do different protocols, different microdosing protocols as I went along in these 3 years. Now, let me ask you: should I be taking LSD for the rest of my life? In fact, it after 3 years, it stopped really working because I have developed such chronic fatigue because of that, and because of all the bad habits I stopped 2 years ago, so 28 years of my life, and all the toxins that I've accumulated. But for 3 years, it carried me through. I felt like Superman. It didn't matter what I was eating. It really didn't matter. I perceived most of my eating problems to be in my gut, meaning, if only I can have a better diet where I can like not get constipated. But I didn't perceive me waking up in the mornings feeling tired as part of a bad eating lifestyle. I didn't perceive that. I just said I'll take the magic pill and I'm good to go. Now the question is, should I continue to take LSD? Should I now pick up the habit again? I mean, I could. I was like the LSD dealer in my city. Okay, in Hamilton. I wonder if some of you guys who I've sold this to are watching. If you are watching, please leave me a comment. Just leave me a comment. Okay, I was like, that's how much I was into LSD. Okay, I was doing it so much. I've done hundreds of tabs of LSD in my life, hundreds, no exaggeration. maybe close to 1,000. Maybe it's possible. All right. And I was doing it for free because I was selling it, and whatever money I had was just funding my habit. Okay. And I was Superman, and I'm telling you, it didn't matter. I was changing diet just because I was like, oh, I'm tired of constipation and pain in my gut. I need to fix this. So I just gotta find the right diet for that. But I didn't perceive my overall fatigue, which was there, but LSD would just mask it and make me feel like Superman without fail. I didn't perceive that maybe I needed really, I'm full of toxicity here, and I really needed change to some, and start eating something nutritious and not stimulating. And that's precisely what fruits are. Fruits are nourishing, not stimulating. Okay, there is a difference between nourishment and between stimulant. Ultimately, the ultimate, I'll tell you what the ultimate nourishment, because even fruits have a stimulating effect to them. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, it's much less than, say, steak or dairy or all this vegan salty. I mean, look, I spent the last year and a half eating vegan junk food, if you want to call it. Okay, salty, spicy food is a big stimulant. And after eating a spicy meal in Thailand, they like to put the spices. After eating a spicy meal, you know what I would do? I would feel this heat rise up in me, and I'd feel like suddenly I'm like my body's hot and I'm energized, and I'd get up and I'd go for like an hour and a half walk, and I'd go for a swim. Okay, does that mean that food was energizing me? Does that mean it's good? No. The body's freaking out. Why'd you put these spices in me? They're so irritating, and I gotta get them out of here. What about this salt stuff? I gotta get out of here. But I'd feel all this heat rise up, and I'd go for sometimes I'd go for a 2-hour walk just to be able to just to use this energy, so-called energy. It's not energy. It's the body trying to get rid of the toxicity. The body's upset. The body's irritated. And even fruits have a stimulating effect. Don't get me wrong. Okay. There's one thing that has pure nourishment, and that is urine. Okay, that is urine. Urine has a nourishing effect. All right, it's got a nourishing effect. Whether you want to agree or disagree, people who do this urine therapy know what I'm talking about. Okay, but everything to a degree has a stimulating effect. All right, some things have much of a less stimulating effect than others. More nourishment, less stimulant, but still stimulating at some level. All foods have a stimulating effect to them. Okay, but some are so harsh and nasty to your body that they give you this illusion of energy and being Superman. Believe me, I'm not kidding when I say people called me Superman. In the gym, I was called a Superman. People would say, oh, here's Superman. Because I'd be flying on the gymnastics bars and the rings and doing all kinds of stuff. So, and then I combined it with we had a punching bag in the gym, so I was doing these combinations, these beautiful combinations, martial arts and gymnastics and blah blah. All I needed to is take my LSD this morning, no matter how tired I woke up, no matter. Okay, no matter, didn't matter. But of course, it caught up with me. 3 years later, there I was. The LSD was not doing it for me anymore. I was just tired. And I suspect if I took, let's say, I haven't done LSD for 2 years now. I suspect if I was to start taking LSD again now, it'd probably give me that Superman effect for the next few years before I'm feeling tired again. Okay? So, does it mean I should be taking LSD? Does it mean it's good for me? Does it mean my body likes it? It leaves acidic residuals behind. That's why it's called acid. Right? But based on this logic, I eat it and it gives me energy and I feel like Superman, then I should be taking LSD for the rest of my life here. I should be doing it on a semi-daily basis for the rest of my life. It's a critical part of human nutrition. We evolved needing psychedelics. I should be taking mushrooms. Let's say mushrooms. We should be taking mushrooms. It's an essential part of the human diet. I could easily make that conclusion based on how supermanic I felt all these 3 years taking LSD, and how literally people called me Superman in the gym. Literally. Okay? This is not even like a literally. Alright? It may seem like I'm bragging here, but I can't do most of these things I do anymore, and I don't care for that. I don't want to do them anymore. That was a nice phase of my life, but I don't care about doing these things anymore. But that's the matter of fact in those days. All right. So same thing with coffee. You know, should you be drinking? Is coffee an essential part of the human nutrition? Should you be drinking coffee for the rest of your life if it makes you feel like Superman? For me, it started with coffee. I take coffee, and that was before the LSD days. And I would use music as a stimulant, Eminem particularly, in coffee. I would come back from work. I worked 1 year as an engineer, and I'd come back from work absolutely exhausted from work. Then I'd make my coffee, put my Eminem on till I collapsed, blah blah blah, and I'd feel energy, Superman again, Superman. And I'd go to the gym and I'd put like 2 plates and bench them like for reps, you know, and yeah, and then I do pretty cool stuff because I felt energy, but you know, it wasn't energy, and every so now and then I would come down with the flu, or my body would need to detox itself. So every now and then I'd come down with the flu, and I'd blame it on the seasons. I'd say, well, it's the flu season. No, it's not the flu season. It's my body detoxing by force because I keep toxifying it. And I keep raping it and forcing all these stimulants down there and down my throat and for the rest of my body. I'd keep stimulating it, raping it. It's rape. Coffee is hardcore rape. LSD, doing it regularly. Psychedelics is not something to do every day. It's like once in a blue moon to learn something, to get something out of it, but it's not something to do regularly. Okay, but I felt like Superman. So based on the logic, I should be right now making some orders for some LSD because it's critical, because I will feel like Superman, like Superman. Probably, now, with the way I consume, with the way I eat, it's primarily fruits. If I was to take LSD, I'd probably feel like 10 times the Superman that I felt in those times, because my body's less toxic and I'm more sensitive to this substance. And it probably hit me stronger, and because I have less mucus overall in my body, less puffiness. My face was so inflamed in those days, right? And I'd get acne here, right? Now I got nice, beautiful, clear face, nice, whereas in those days it was always puffy, always like puffiness, and have acne here, and but again, I take LSD and I'm good to go. Right? Water retention was a big problem for me also. I guarantee you, if I was to start like microdosing LSD now, oh boy, I'd feel like so much more Superman right now than I did back in those days, because my body's cleaner and I'm more sensitive to it, and my mind's cleaner. I have more clarity. Does that mean I should be doing it though? No, it's an irritant. It does the same thing to you. Like when you take LSD, same thing when you take coffee happens, right? Heart rate goes up, you feel heat in your body, you feel physical energy, right? Like, man, I take this stuff and I like, oh, I want to scream, right? I go take a cold shower and I after it kicks in, and then I'm ready to go. Oh, and I go to gym and I have like a 3-hour workout in the gym. No kidding. Hardcore shit for 3 hours. Yeah, I've been taking LSD. I feel like Superman, I should continue to take it. No, you have to distinguish between a stimulant, between something that stimulates you and something that nourishes you. Okay, so yeah, that's what happens for some people who start to eat things, highly stimulating things like salt, highly stimulating things like meat, highly stimulating things like eggs. It's the same thing as drinking coffee, as taking LSD. It's the same thing. The body's actually so irritated, it's trying to get rid of this thing. Just because you feel like Superman doesn't mean that this is serving you in the long term. It doesn't mean it's serving your long-term health. doesn't mean it's serving you, and somewhere down the line you will pay for it. And sometimes it happens out of nowhere. Oh, I got colon cancer, right? Yeah, sometimes it happens out of nowhere because some stimulants can just keep, like, it can keep numbing you for years and years and years. See, LSD is such a strong stimulant that after just 3-4 years of use, you'll realize, like, shit, I gotta stop. Okay, because it's a very strong stimulant. Coffee is a weaker stimulant, but still strong, but weaker than LSD. So people can go for 10-20 years before they realize, oh my god, I'm burned out. Like, I'm totally burned out. Right? So that's the thing, man. Sometimes, like, you don't see the effects right away of the detrimental effects of what you're doing right away. You don't see it. And this is where wisdom comes in. This is where you have to, study the human body deeper, study your own energy cycles deeper, contemplate more, and then come to realize, first of all, we need very little in terms of caloric food here. Okay, we actually need very little. The cleaner the body, the less we need. Okay, and if we're going to consume, then we want to consume of the things that have the least amount of stimulation. Again, everything has some form of stimulation to it at some point or other, and more nourishment. Okay, and if you really dig into this and experiment with different modalities of eating and living, you'll realize the less you eat, the better, the more energy you have as the body cleans itself, and that fruits have the least, still stimulants, but have the least amount of stimulation and the highest amount of nourishment. Okay, in terms of caloric foods. But see, that's a sin, because urine is food. Urine's got all the whatever 102 or 108, whatever it was, minerals that your body needs. It's got stem cells. It's amazing. You don't have to agree with me about that, but you at least have to entertain the idea, because if you look at the makeup of urine, yes, there's a slight micro amounts, little amounts of toxins. That's all right, but then look at the makeup of it. It's got urine is used in beauty products. I've been putting it on my face. Look at this beautiful face. Look at this. Look at this, right? I've been putting it on my face every day. I've been putting aged. Aged is very powerful. Very, very powerful. And of course I drink it. And so you have to at least entertain the idea. If you don't want to, you don't have to do it. You don't have to agree with it. But just see where the logic's coming from. Now, for me, urine is the most nourishment, the least stimulating. It's just like shots of like minerals, potassium, sodium, and magnesium. Urine, which is used in all beauty products, pretty much, right? And stem cells. Stem cells are incredibly powerful. Stem cells, when your body regenerates a tissue, first thing, it needs stem cells that can grow into any tissue. They can grow into bone. They can grow into muscle. They can grow into skin. And much more than that. That's just what's coming out right off the bat here. So what you want to consume is things that have the least amount of stimulation and the most amount of nourishment. Okay, and it's paradoxical, because the more something is stimulating, the more you think it's giving you energy. Like, just, it's again LSD, man. But it didn't matter what I ate for 3 years. I was changing my diet because I was really constipated, like really constipated. And it didn't matter what diet I changed. And I was just changing diets because I wanted to get rid of constipation. Because the LSD for me completely masked the fatigue that I was experiencing, completely masked everything. For me, it's like, I just take LSD, I'm Superman. Which was the case. Okay, so think about that. This is just something for you to think about. Okay, thank you to our Patreons. Thank you to our donors for supporting this channel. I love you guys. If you would like to donate, if you got like maybe $100 laying around, you're a millionaire, right? Here, go on PayPal, right? Donate $100 to my boy Saeed, or it could be like 10 cents, it could be $1 million, right? We appreciate all support. It all goes to an emergency fund for now, just due to the nature of these chaotic times that we're living in. That's about it. And I will see you guys in the next video.